Reason 4. Public acknowledgements from US artists highlight Jungkook as a benchmark. Even a benchmark among both Western and Asian artists. One of the clearest indications of this trend comes from the direct words of celebrities themselves. When public figures, particularly artists from the United States, begin to openly acknowledge another artist as a standard, it signals more than casual admiration. It reflects a shift in how the industry defines influence, reach, and relevance. This first confession comes from a recurring pattern. US artists, whether in interviews or through social media interactions, have begun referencing Jungkook when discussing success or global visibility. These acknowledgements are not merely compliments. They illustrate a broader recognition of Jungkook's ability to set measurable standards in performance, digital dominance, and cultural impact. To understand why such statements matter, it is essential to break down the layers of what these confessions imply and how they shape the perception of Jungkook as a reference point in the competitive landscape of global pop. Iden, the context of Western endorsement. For decades, the US music market has positioned itself as the world's central hub for defining pop culture. Artists who succeed in America typically gain recognition globally, and conversely, non-Western acts often face challenges in penetrating that space. However, when US artists themselves begin to highlight a non-Western star as an example or benchmark, it disrupts that conventional hierarchy. In Jungkook's case, certain Western celebrities have referred to his chart success, streaming numbers, or viral performances as benchmarks to aspire to. These statements are not isolated, but part of a trend in which Jungkook is openly discussed in the same breath as established US pop icons. The significance lies not only in admiration, but also in the implicit recognition that Jungkook is shaping the competitive criteria of the industry. Acknowledgement through streaming comparisons. One of the clearest indicators of this acknowledgement has been the way celebrities and industry insiders reference Jungkook's digital dominance. In multiple interviews, US pop singers and producers have highlighted how Jungkook's solo releases achieve streaming figures that rival or surpass American chart leaders. These confessions serve as a subtle but important marker of his standing. For example, when an American artist notes that Jungkook's track reached millions of streams within 24 hours and compares it to their own release schedule, it reveals a recognition that his metrics are now a part of the benchmark conversation. Rather than simply measuring success against traditional domestic rivals, some US artists are consciously including Jungkook in their comparative framework. The social media effect and celebrity commentary. Social media has also provided an avenue for celebrity confessions. Tweets, Instagram comments, and even indirect references have shown how Jungkook's name is used as a point of discussion within the entertainment ecosystem. When American rappers or singers casually mention Jungkook's viral moments such as his Calvin Klein campaign or his dance rehearsal clips going viral on TikTok, they are implicitly acknowledging that his influence extends beyond music. This type of recognition indicates that Jungkook's reach is no longer confined to fans of K-pop. Instead, he has entered mainstream celebrity discourse, where public figures acknowledge his cultural footprint as part of global entertainment trends. In this way, even indirect comments from celebrities can be seen as confessions that Jungkook has become a yardstick in areas like brand power, visual influence, and viral impact. Reason 3. Endorsements from Asian superstars reinforce Jungkook's regional benchmark status. While acknowledgement from US artists plays a central role in establishing Jungkook's status as a global benchmark, confessions from Asian celebrities carry a different but equally powerful weight. Within Asia, the entertainment ecosystem is vast, complex, and highly competitive, spanning multiple industries such as music, film, fashion, and television. When regional celebrities, whether they are K-pop idols, Japanese actors, Chinese singers, or Southeast Asian influencers, make public statements that position Jungkook as a standard, they reinforce his influence across a wider cultural geography. This second confession centers on the reality that many Asian celebrities, consciously or unconsciously, have identified Jungkook as the figure whose career trajectory, public image, and artistic output they must acknowledge, compare to, or even emulate. Unlike in the US, where acknowledgement often centers on chart success and digital metrics, in Asia, the focus expands to include image consistency, work ethic, and the aspirational quality of Jungkook's brand power. These public remarks signal more than respect. They establish Jungkook as a regional touchstone that extends beyond national borders. The importance of peer recognition in Asia. In Asian entertainment culture, hierarchical acknowledgement is a deeply significant act. Unlike Western contexts, where individualism and rivalry often define public statements, Asian celebrity culture places weight on respect, public recognition, and relational dynamics. When a senior artist, for example, praises a junior, it is often viewed as guidance or endorsement. Conversely, when peers acknowledge each other, it demonstrates mutual recognition of talent and influence. Jungkook, despite being relatively young compared to many established Asian stars, has received public recognition from peers across industries. This includes K-pop idols who describe him as an inspiration, Japanese entertainers who reference his performances, and Chinese celebrities who cite him in discussions of popularity. These confessions demonstrate that Jungkook is not confined to his role as a BTS member, but is regarded as a leading cultural standard in his own right. K-pop industry confessions. Within the K-pop industry itself, numerous idols have openly referred to Jungkook as someone they admire or measure themselves against. Interviews often feature trainees or younger idols naming him as a role model. While admiration for seniors is common in the industry, what differentiates Jungkook's case is that even contemporaries and near peers view him as a benchmark. For instance, during televised variety shows, younger idols have frequently mentioned Jungkook when asked about performance goals or who inspires them musically. Such remarks indicate that his artistry and reputation extend beyond fan-driven narratives and are internalized within the professional community. In essence, he has become the archetype against which many young artists in South Korea evaluate themselves. Japanese celebrity perspectives. Japan remains one of the most important entertainment hubs in Asia, with its own rich tradition of idol culture. Despite being historically resistant to external influences, Japanese entertainment figures have also confessed admiration for Jungkook's career. Several Japanese singers and actors have commented on his performances, fashion campaigns, and stage presence, acknowledging that his standard is difficult to match. These confessions hold significant weight because Japan is not only a critical market for BTS, but also a country with its own highly competitive celebrity ecosystem. When Japanese artists position Jungkook as a standard, it signals that his influence has successfully penetrated an industry that typically emphasizes domestic stars over international ones. Reason 2. Fashion industry figures confess Jungkook sets the standard for global style integration. Jungkook's benchmark status is not limited to music and performance metrics. One of the clearest confessions that he has become a global standard comes from the fashion industry, where designers, models, and brand executives have publicly acknowledged his influence. While celebrity endorsements in fashion are common, Jungkook's integration into the industry represents a different scale of recognition. He is not merely a model or ambassador. He has become a standard for how East Asian figures can successfully dominate international fashion narratives. This third confession is rooted in how fashion insiders, from designers and stylists to fellow celebrities, speak about Jungkook's influence on brand campaigns, consumer trends, and industry strategies. Their remarks reveal that Jungkook is not only part of fashion's celebrity ecosystem, but also a reference point for how global style is marketed and consumed. The significance of fashion endorsements. In the fashion world, recognition from industry figures is more than surface-level acknowledgement. The industry is structured around exclusivity, trend-setting, and symbolic capital. When key players confess that an individual defines or shapes trends, they are not only recognizing personal style, but also affirming market power. In Jungkook's case, fashion insiders have repeatedly acknowledged that his campaigns, appearances, and personal styling choices influence both consumer behavior and brand strategies. Unlike typical celebrity ambassadors, who are often chosen to fit a brand's existing image, Jungkook has been positioned as someone who actively shapes the brand's public perception. Calvin Klein, as a benchmark example. The most prominent case study of this influence is Jungkook's partnership with Calvin Klein. His campaign generated global attention, dominating social media platforms and driving significant consumer interest. Fashion commentators, including stylists and editors, openly confessed that Jungkook's Calvin Klein collaboration set a new benchmark for celebrity-driven campaigns. This acknowledgement was not limited to fan-driven reactions. Industry insiders highlighted that the visibility and sales impact of Jungkook's campaign outperformed previous celebrity partnerships. The confession, in this case, is explicit. Jungkook is not simply participating in fashion campaigns, he is redefining their effectiveness. Stylist and designer remarks. Fashion stylists and designers, particularly those in South Korea and the US, have also confessed admiration for Jungkook's adaptability and influence. In interviews and behind-the-scenes discussions, some stylists have pointed out that Jungkook's ability to embody multiple aesthetics, casual, high-fashion, streetwear, makes him a unique figure in the industry. Designers have noted that his image allows brands to bridge cultural gaps, appealing to both Western and Asian markets simultaneously. Such remarks go beyond standard compliments and reflect an industry acknowledgement that Jungkook is a model for cross-market brand integration. Reason 1. Media and industry analysts confess Jungkook defines the new global standard. The final layer of confession that proves Jungkook has become the benchmark comes not from celebrities or fashion insiders, but from media professionals, cultural critics, and industry analysts. These figures play a critical role in shaping public perception and institutional recognition. Unlike celebrities who may comment casually or emotionally, analysts and media voices often frame their remarks within the context of data, cultural impact, and industry economics. Their confessions carry structural weight because they transform individual achievements into collective narratives of standard setting. This reason explores how journalists, critics, and business analysts have openly acknowledged Jungkook as a new global reference point in music, entertainment, and branding. Their confessions reflect a deeper recalibration of what it means to succeed in the global entertainment market. The role of media confessions in shaping standards. Media institutions historically determine benchmarks in global culture. For example, coverage in publications such as Billboard, the New York Times, or Rolling Stone has traditionally defined who is recognized as a leader in the music industry. Similarly, business outlets like Forbes or Bloomberg shape perceptions of economic influence. When such outlets position Jungkook as a standard, they are not simply reporting on popularity, but actively shaping the narrative of what success looks like in the modern era. These confessions are not limited to praise. They often include statistical analysis, trend reports, and cultural comparisons. By framing Jungkook as a figure whose metrics and influence redefine global standards, media and analysts institutionalize his benchmark role. Billboard and chart-based confessions. Billboard has consistently highlighted Jungkook's chart achievements, often comparing his performance to US artists who historically dominate the Hot 100 and Global 200. When Billboard articles note that Jungkook has achieved milestones that place him alongside or above leading Western stars, these comments serve as confessions of his benchmark status. Such coverage is particularly important because Billboard functions as a central authority in global music rankings. Acknowledging Jungkook's achievements as historically significant positions him as part of the benchmark framework that other artists are measured against. Forbes and business media analysis. Business-focused outlets such as Forbes, Bloomberg, and Business Insider have also acknowledged Jungkook's influence. When these publications report that his solo campaigns drive record-breaking brand sales or that his digital presence sets global engagement benchmarks, they are making confessions rooted in economic impact. Unlike celebrity admiration, these comments reflect financial data and consumer behavior. For example, articles noting that Jungkook's Calvin Klein collaboration drove unprecedented search traffic or sales function as confessions that his influence is quantifiable and economically transformative. Cultural critic confessions. Cultural critics, particularly in academic and journalistic contexts, have also confessed that Jungkook represents a shift in global cultural power. For decades, Western pop stars were the default examples in discussions of global influence. Critics now explicitly note that Jungkook symbolizes a redistribution of cultural capital, where an Asian artist is not only included, but also positioned as a leading standard. Such commentary often frames Jungkook as a case study for how globalization, social media, and fan engagement reshape the entertainment landscape. By acknowledging him in this way, critics confess that he is not just participating in pop culture, but actively redefining its benchmarks.